Prosecutor caught stealing money for victims. Put them up. Former prosecutor in Virginia who was accused of embezzling and laundering money intended for crime victims and using the funds to settle his gambling debts, recently pleaded guilty to felony charges in connection to the scheme. This is an unfortunate story all the way around. He now faces decades in prison, okay? James Panagis Jr., who served in the Virginia Beach Commonwealth Attorney's Office 2015 to 2022, pleaded guilty to embezzlement of more than $500, 2 counts of uttering a forged check, and 2 counts of embezzlement by a public officer, according to the Virginian-Pilot. City officials said they initiated the probe when they discovered irregularities in the prosecutor's files. Shortly after Victor reported they never received the full amount of restitution owed to them. The state police agent who investigated the case learned that the former prosecutor used the restitution money to pay off personal debts and online gambling. The investigation uncovered the specific method the prosecutor used to conceal the missing restitution funds. Authorities learned that he would ask defense attorneys or other parties in his case to give him a check with a blank payee line. In exchange, he would withdraw or reduce their charges. He wrote out fake names, sharing his initials, JP, on those blank checks, and would sign them in a way where anyone viewing the signatures could only make out the letters J and P. Okay, this is obviously a person capable of significant deception and strategy. There's more to it. Then he deposited those checks into his personal account, but reported that the restitution money had been paid in full. Evidence revealed that he stole checks in the amount of $560, $540 that was supposed to be reimbursed to 2 women who had been defrauded by an employee. Another check for $585 was also reportedly connected to a case related to damage to a police vehicle. Authorities audited 600 cases that he worked on, which were compared to his bank records and records from 12 online gambling sites. Records revealed that the prosecutor frequently used BetMGM and appeared to be gambling, quote, all hours of the day and night, according to investigators. Okay? Now, it's a big deal. Okay? He's stealing money. Those victims deserve that money. That money is there because it makes the difference between how they're able to survive an incident, get back on their feet, have a little bit of reprieve, some grace. So that's bad. Okay? There's another dynamic here underrepresented in the story. So the narrative obviously is about his gambling and stealing money. But understand the context. He would finagle charges based on moolah, which would also mean that potentially he would upgrade charges or perhaps keep charges as they are due to non-payment. You can't rule that out, obviously. He's accepting money to drop charges personally. So while the money is one factor, they have no test, no probe to understand the level that this individual manipulated people and families and the system and taxpayers. in order to do this. That to me is as much, if not a greater tragedy in the overall scheme. Okay. So when an investigator interviewed the prosecutor last summer, he initially said he did not remember what happened to the restitution money, but conceded that only he could have been the prime suspect based on the evidence. At some point during the interview, he got emotional and admitted to struggling with alcohol and cocaine. All right. In proper context, that's a disease. Addiction is a disorder, period. Should be treated as such. That doesn't answer a whole lot of questions on the table. It's unclear how much money he actually stole. They have no idea. Other people cooperated in some ways here, okay? But investigators discovered he ran this operation from September 2019 to September 2021. A grand jury indicted last year, multiple felony counts. Some of the charges, including money laundering, were dropped as part of his plea bargain, all right? He's facing up to 60 years in prison. He will be sentenced in June. It's a hell of a scheme. But damn, to literally sell a person's life, incarceration is no joke, regardless of what decisions you've made. It is the most serious moment you will face if you are that person. And you at least want the bare minimum. The Constitution provides an opportunity for you to have a fair and open, allegedly fair and open opportunity to face your accusers. You have all of your constitutional rights. You actually are presumed to be innocent unless, not until, unless proven. This man is facing 60 years in prison. He will be sentenced in June. We will update the story at that time. Yasmin, thoughts here?
Yeah, so these people have already been victimized once, and now they've been victimized a second time, and this time by someone who is supposed to be helping them. It really is a sad story, as you said, Doc. And I think it speaks to the fact that checks and balances do serve a purpose. Someone noticed that there were irregularities in the records. They pursued that line and they uncovered criminal behavior. Of course, it would have been nice if this man had been caught sooner, but the story also demonstrates the lengths in which people will go, including or maybe especially people in positions of power, to protect and or enrich themselves. I think whenever we design institutions and systems, we just need to assume negative intent, which I know sounds harsh, but we clearly need to protect against the worst of human impulses. If anything good comes out of this, perhaps they can find a way to insulate against similar incidents occurring in the future, because with any system, as we're seeing in this story, and also I think you can say that about the government at large right now, there will always be someone who is ready to test it.
You are right.